With no further ado, we'll have Dr. Adesope, Sola, come forward and talk with us about lifelong learning, getting the most out of your internship, and then we've got an end of the workshop survey that he's put together. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Okay, good afternoon. I realize the not so impressive position in which I am. If you have to give the first presentation, it's always challenging because everyone expects you to set the tone or set the bar so high. And then if you have to give the last presentation, it's equally challenging because you've listened to all the great stuff. And probably at this time of the day, you are ready to go home. So I'm probably the only guy standing between you and having a good dinner. So, but I will try to make it quick. And, you know, I'm also I'm part of this team with Benny, Asifa, and Noel, trying to put this together, holding series of meetings. And glad this was funded. My official role on the project is the external evaluator. I also come with a lot of educational as well as technical background. Today, Benny has talked about what I will be talking to you about. I'll just give you a little bit of my interest. I'm housed currently in the educational psychology program. It's a graduate program here at Washington State University. Now, from that educational psychology interest and background, I actually do have a number of other research interests. My first degree was actually in computer science and computer engineering. Then I had a master's degree in educational technology and a PhD in educational psychology. And I can tell you all the stories behind that. So you will see from technical to really more theoretical kind of knowledge. Those will be reflected in my research interest in knowledge representation. How do we represent knowledge? The dominant form of knowledge representation is through text. So I investigate other means of representing knowledge, including what you are seeing on the screen, the use of concept maps and diagrams. I do a lot of work in multimedia learning and adaptive systems, research methodology, particularly the use of meta-analysis, statistical approach for aggregating a body of work to produce evidence. I'm also, I also have interest in self-regulated learning, particularly social cognitive theory. I don't think anyone will know about Bandura here from Stanford. Bandura was the one who devised the social cognitive theory of learning, and he happens to be the advisor to my advisor. So that's how I picked up that interest. In actual fact, I was in Africa last week, and I was supposed to, and I was standing by my laptop or sitting by my laptop, ready to give you a 15-minute overview of theories. I had discussed that extensively with Chris, Hansen, and James, but we had some technical challenges and breakdown. I was in the Zoom room, not knowing that, and there was nobody there. I tried so hard, so that was why I couldn't join you. But I believe Chris and James did a fantastic job. We've talked about a number of those things before, so that shouldn't be a problem. But self-regulated learning is one of my interests, and I do a lot of work in STEM education. Again, looking at my computer science and engineering background. Today, I do a lot of evaluation, assessment, as well as design in STEM. And more recently, I also moved into learning analytics. How do we make sense of the big data that we have to improve the way we teach and learn? Well, I think what Benny wanted me to talk about today very briefly is being a lifelong learner. It's one of the things that I want to talk about. So who is a lifelong learner? I try to go online, just gather information, read some stuff about lifelong learners. A lifelong learner is someone who is committed to ongoing education. This fits quite nicely with my philosophy. I always tell my students that the day we stop learning is the day we die. We must keep such an open mind to learn and learn every single day. In actual fact, we have what we call the principles of learning. Learning can be resisted, but even when you resist learning, you are still learning not to learn. I don't know, I'm being philosophical there. So it's, you just learn every single day until we die. So learning is not something that stops. Even right here, it doesn't stop with this workshop. It's not going to stop with you going on internship. Learning will continue, even in very informal spaces whereby you think learning cannot occur. Incredible learning, powerful learning can occur there. Learning can occur even from most of what I have learned in life came from my students. So we don't even get to a stage whereby we feel, oh, I'm a professor, I'm just teaching, dishing it out, and my students are learning. No, it goes both ways. So we stand a lot to gain from one another as we learn. So it's a commitment to ongoing education. A lifelong learner embraces a growth mindset. A growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will say, this is it, and it doesn't change. Even 5 years down the road, they read new things, they read new ideas, they think yet they are rooted in that old idea. That's not learning. A growth mindset, we've got to open our mind to receive something that actually sometimes contradicts our prior learning or beliefs. And then we reconcile what we had learned before with new information to engender or advance or produce new ways of learning. So lifelong learning can consist of multiple activities, including earning a degree, pursuing certifications, on the job training, reading to learn new things, and so on and so forth. It can use both formal and informal learning opportunities to foster continuous development and improvement of the knowledge and skills needed for both career and personal fulfillment. Lifelong learning is the ongoing education of the self. Griffin said that because it's on a continuum, this type of learning is self-motivated and often self-taught. It's about having a fierce desire to gain knowledge and skills whenever, wherever, and however. And this is powerful when people open their minds to gain knowledge, to learn new things. And I have people who will get into an area and have almost zero knowledge, but they do have prior knowledge of other things before, and they are able to use the schemata from their prior knowledge, build some connections with the problem on hand, and use the prior knowledge to offer some strategic solutions to current problems. So that is an example of a lifelong learner. Even after you go out of school, when you start working, when you start raising families, getting close to retirement, wherever you may be in life, what we actually advocate is for everyone to be a lifelong learner. So I just briefly mentioned 7 ways to becoming a lifelong learner. The first thing here is to accept responsibility for your own learning. That is very crucial. Some people are waiting for others to teach them. And some people complain that, oh, that instructor was just not good. That was why I didn't learn physics or I didn't learn chemistry as much as I should. Why that may be true to a certain extent, we do believe that to become a lifelong learner, you have to have what is called self-regulated learning philosophy. You have to take ownership of your own learning. There are facilitators out there working with you, but don't blame it on them. You know, there's what is called attribution theory of education, of learning, of anything, so to say. If you attribute failures to an external factor, then you do not have the inner strength to own it and do what you can to overcome challenges. And I will say that again, if failures come or things are not going well, and you always appropriate that to an external person, or it's because of this guy, external, it's because of that problem. Oh, that professor didn't give us enough homework. He did not teach well. She did not teach well, and so on and so forth. Then what happens is that you are not in a position to own your learning and address those problems in a strategic way so that you can overcome the problems as quickly as possible. So it's a well-known educational theory, attribution theory. So attributing successes and failures to efforts that are engendered by you can actually be very, very powerful. So the same way for becoming a lifelong learner, accept responsibility. Know that there are things, as I was planning for this presentation, again, I just came back from Africa, Monday evening, jet lag yesterday, so I picked this up today, this morning, and started preparing. I started thinking about things in my life that I really wanted to learn. I want to learn how to play the piano. I want to learn how to sing. Then I started thinking, I need to own this. It's about time for me to start making concerted efforts to be able to learn some of these skills that are probably not what I teach in school. They are not what I, work with every day, but there are things that interest me and that I want to achieve in life. So accepting responsibility for our own learning will actually help us get there. Keep a list of to learn things and set goals. Setting goals is very crucial. And I would say in educational realm, goals can more broadly be broken down into two: distal goal and proximal goal. Your distal goal for being in this 2-week workshop might be to get a job as a cybersecurity expert somewhere in government and private industry. That might not happen until the next 2 years for some of you. It might not happen until the next 5 years for some. So that's what we call a distal goal. It's out there. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some of you might want to obtain your PhD. That might be a 5-year distal goal. But in order for you to sustain motivation and interest in your distal goal, you need what is called proximal goal setting. The proximal goal setting allows you to set goals every single day, every week, every month. Those goals are geared towards your distal goal. That if I set this goal today, it will help me meet my goals for the week. And then the goals for the week should point towards the goal for the month, and on until you reach that PhD level and you walk across the stage on your graduation, or you get that job at US Army or US Navy, or being a cybersecurity expert somewhere. Those distant goals can be achieved when you set proximal goals. So I really would encourage you, accept responsibility for your own learning as you go to internship. Set goals every single day. What is it that I want to achieve at this internship? That's like then is the internship a 9-week thing?
10 weeks.
10 weeks. So that's this time. 10 weeks can be just out there. Set goals every week. What do you want to achieve? And then make sure that at the end of the week, you reflect back on those goals and see how well you are meeting those goals. There are different frameworks for goal setting. Some have put forward, it's called the SMART goal. Your goals must be specific, measurable, and so on and so forth. Ask questions when confused. A lifelong learner is not ashamed of asking questions. In fact, some people think that asking questions is a sign of weakness. I just came back again from Africa, where the culture is you don't ask, because when you ask, it seems that you don't know, and it's a sign of weakness. Research has shown us that that is very erroneous. In actual fact, when you ask questions, it means you are following. It means you are paying attention. It means you are interested. And research evidence showing that asking good questions, it's actually a sign of strength and not of weakness, and one good way of becoming a lifelong learner. And, you know, some of the questions that I have asked, and I will continue to ask and seek solutions, is we talk about interdisciplinary work, and then we talk about prerequisites. So you have to take chemistry 101 before you can take chemistry 201. And I wonder if there's anything in there that really is limiting our ability to do interdisciplinary work by the current structure that we have in higher education, whereby we have all these prereqs. So my question is that, can someone get industrial experience about 101 that he doesn't or she doesn't even actually need to take chemistry 101 because she already knows most of the content, maybe through jobs or through other experiences. So the current system does not allow such flexibility. So these are questions that I toss around, and I can go on and on about other questions that I have in life. And I continue to seek solutions to them. So a lifelong learner would ask questions. A lifelong learner put what you are learning into practice, especially if what you are learning can be put into practice. There's no need for me to start learning about theories of piano playing and do that for 2-3 years. It's a waste of time. Come on, Sola, get behind the piano and play. And then see your weaknesses, and then use those weaknesses to practice or develop a strategic plan for overcoming those weaknesses. So put what you are learning into practice, improve your memory. A lifelong learner seeks to improve memory, and they do a number of things. There's a number of well-known best evidence strategies for improving memory. If you read, and some of you are still in school, if you learn something and you don't review that information in 1 or 2 weeks, you will potentially lose, especially if it's a novel information, you will potentially lose about 75% of that content if you don't review it within 30 days. So part of being a lifelong learner is to learn something, you come back to it in a few days. In fact, there's research showing that if you come back to it the same day in the evening, you retain about 90%. And then you come back to it again the next day or two, and you review it further, you almost retain 100% of what you learned. So there are different strategies. So you can play different games, memory games, you can do practice testing, you can test yourself, see where the knowledge gaps are, and then restudy based on the gaps. So that's strategic reading, so to say. Those type of activities will help improve your memory and make you become a lifelong learner. The other thing that improves memory, which is research that I have done personally, is becoming bilingual early in life. Okay, now maybe that's too late for some of us. Okay, research has shown that early bilingualism can actually attenuate age-related cognitive declines like dementia. Because when you have mastery of 2 languages and you can suppress one language and elevate the other, depending on the context and the situation in which you are, it really sharpens your memory, your brain. Really makes the brain effective. If I'm talking with my grandma, I know not to speak English as I'm speaking now. I suppress English and speak Yoruba language. And then it gives also meta-linguistic awareness, metacognitive awareness. You are aware of who you are talking with. And then there's a lot of language switching in the brain those things help with memory development and helps even with becoming lifelong learning. In fact, that research that I just told you now, when we published that, I think 2010, about 12 years ago, and a few years later, the US Congressional Office of Research made a request for the journal paper. It was published in the Review of Educational Research to inform debates on the floor of the House, whether US should go bilingual or not. Some of those debates, there's a lot of politics there too. Some of those debates are still ongoing now, which I think is really, really powerful. I wish they would come into the floor of the House to testify. I would say we really can benefit as a country by being bilingual, having our students, particularly in K-12, learn and master another language effectively. That will help with memory development. Again, embrace a growth mindset. The fact that you learn something about cybersecurity over these 2-week periods does not mean that that information cannot change 1 month down the line. It depends on what Russia does to us. Okay, if Russia takes a different strategy, then those in intelligence circle will have to develop new approaches to make sure that you and I are safe. So information is so dynamic and learning is so dynamic. So don't stay rooted in one place, having a really fixed mindset that this was what I learned 10 years ago. Even though you learned it 10 years ago, things may have changed now. So having a growth mindset, having an open mind to receive new information is really critical to becoming a lifelong learner. And of course, the 7th one, read, read, and read. Be open to read. Read new things. Read things that challenge you. In fact, when I go to conferences, and Phil Winnie, my advisor, who was Albert Bandura's student at Stanford, told me one time, he said, Sola, when you go to conference, don't just go to sessions in your area. Go to sessions that are a little bit away from your area. Why? So you can learn some new strategies, new methods, new ways of thinking in a different area that you can bring to your own area. And suddenly, in fact, Phil had made many, many inventions and breakthroughs just by doing that. How wonderful will it be for me to sit in a biology sort of a conference and learn some new methods in biology, organism, and all of those things, and then think about how would this relate to educational psychology, the way we teach and learn, and then bring that over. And if I'm successful, I would have blazed the trail. I would have, made some major advancements. So it's important to keep that in mind. Read and be willing to go beyond your comfort zone in order to become a good lifelong learner. Let me stop there and ask if there are any questions before we move to the second part, making the most of the interaction.
What do you think is the impact of having some time to rest, sabbatical, a day of rest, those kind of things?
They're very important. I thank you, Benny. Excellent question. I tell my students that I will give you a reply to your emails within 24 hours, except if you send that email late Saturday. I can't. Sunday is my day of rest. I pick that day. I don't work. I just spend time with my family. I make sure I go to church with them, come back home, relax, and just enjoy my family. I don't go to my emails many, many times. So if you're looking for me on a Sunday, it's a wrong day to look for me, or it's a wrong day to expect me to answer an email. So coming back to your question, Benny, it's very important to rest, to take a rest, whether in a week or even an extended rest sabbatical year for us in academia. I had my sabbatical and I went to many different universities in Europe. My base was University of Central London, UCL, but from UCL, I went to France, I went to Erasmus University in the Netherlands. I went to different places from UCL. So again, it's this whole concept of rest, relax, recharge, and it helps us to think differently and think about new things that we would otherwise not be able to think of if we're just going every day. So I totally agree that also being a lifelong learner, and these lists are not exhaustible. I mean, I'm not making any claim that those are the 7 things that they are exclusive. No, I mean, there are so many other things that we can do. And what Benny said now is one of those things. Take a rest. Need to pause, stop, enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, enjoy those around you that you love, and come back, recharge, reward yourself too. I mean, I've seen people who work hard, they learn something or they write something, it's good enough, then they reward themselves. I've seen people reward themselves with a trip to Paris. Isn't that nice? Because they wrote this fantastic article that got published or they won this grant and said, no, I'm done for this month. I just need a week in Paris. And they did that. Some people reward themselves with just a trip to the swimming pool in the evening. Some people reward themselves with, just go get Ferdinand's ice cream on campus. So you can do anything to make sure you take a rest and then reward yourself when you meet those goals. So, thank you. Yes.
Is there an optimum time to read that's most beneficial? So, like, read for an hour is optimum. Reading longer than that might not be optimum.
Yeah, there's research on mass learning and spaced learning. Mass learning is what most students do. They leave it all to exam time. Then I can say that laughing. We've all been there, okay? I will tell you, I had done that before. Mass learning does not work as efficiently as spaced learning, spaced practice. So, and that practice can be transferred to your question. For some people, when they read for an hour, and I'm talking of very engaged reading, not like, just flipping through pages. That's enough for them. They've exhausted their cognitive capacity, so to say. And what they need to do is to put it down, take a walk for 5-10 minutes or 15 and come back and continue. So, but there is research showing that spaced practice is better than mass learning practice, so to say.
So, if I understand you correctly, know yourself well.
Yes.
Read until you've exhausted your cognitive ability.
Yes.
Take a good break.
Take a good break. A really, really good break. And how long you take the break also depends on knowing yourself. So for some people, they need a full hour after one intensive hour of reading. They just want to do a break for like an hour and then come back again. Sometimes I can do 2 or 1.5 hours, but just give me like 30 minutes break at fine. Then I come back. Yeah, and one other thing that I do is that if I'm writing, I don't write the difficult aspects of my journal papers or manuscripts when I don't have sufficient time to think. I mean, I write if I only have an hour and I have manuscripts to write, I will probably write method section in that hour. Okay, participants. And I know the number of participants there were about 170 participants, or students participated in the experiment. They were asked to do this. Those do not require intensive cognitive thinking, so to say. But if I have to write an elegant theoretical framework that really, really frames or undergirds the study, I need a whole day, lot of to do that. So again, making sure you know yourself and you're able to adapt Interesting. Well, this is not academic. Well, I was appointed and the associate dean for research in the College of Education more recently. So on my trip to Africa, I read a book, Authority and Submission. I really love that book because it teaches that wherever you are in life, you still have to submit. Okay? I mean, for me, I thought I needed to hear that, even though I'm associate dean, I'm still responsible to my faculty. I still have to submit to them. I still have to understand them, and so on and so forth. But if you think about academic reading, more recently, I read the Cambridge Handbook of Multimedia Learning, third edition by Richard Mayer and Logan Fiorella. It's about 500-page book. Excellent read. Excellent read. Well, and I might be biased. I have a chapter in that book. So I read my chapter first before reading other things, but really, really good read there. And Mayer, I love Mayer's style of writing because even my grade 7 kid can understand his writing. So if you follow Richard Mayer from University of California, Santa Barbara, is just a phenomenal researcher. He's published over 600 journal papers and over 60 books in his career. And he was the external advisor to my PhD dissertation work. So I follow him very closely too. So if you think about what I read recently, that was the Cambridge Handbook of Multimedia Learning. So great. Any other questions? So let's wrap this up with making the most of your internship. So I have here 10 ways to make the most of your internship. Again, just reading stuff to come up with this presentation. The first one here that I will tell you is meet and learn about your co-workers. You're going to be having this internship. Make sure that you meet your co-workers, you learn about what they are doing, you learn about their interests, be very friendly. It's very important. Set proximal and distant goals. We've talked about that. Your internship, before you go on your internship, set goals. What is it that you want to get out of this internship? I had an internship back, I think about 1990, about 32 years ago. I had an internship with Chevron Corporation. Chevron Oil and Gas, the headquarters is in California, but they have a very strong presence in Nigeria. When I was an undergraduate student, so I had an internship with them, Chevron Corporation. I set my goals. I knew I wanted to work with Chevron when I finished. So in fact, that was one reason I wanted to have my internship at Chevron. So first day, I knew what I wanted. I approached my co-workers very friendly, hardworking. And you know what? When I finished, I ended up working at Chevron Corporation. It's an American company, but we have operations, a lot of operations in Africa. So in fact, for most people, I think there's data showing that most people, many students end up being offered permanent jobs at their places of internship. Okay, once they do a very good job, if they want it, they might reject the offer, but many people, it's a really, really good way to develop a solid working relationship. In terms of setting goals, to the very day I came to this campus, I was an assistant professor 12 years ago. I told myself, I said, I want to become an associate. I want to go on for promotion early. And I didn't tell anyone. But first day I set goals. What is it that I want to achieve year one? What do I want to achieve year 2, year 3? I set those proximal goals for the distant goal of moving to associate professor in 5 years. I did not tell my dean anything, did not tell anyone anything. I just worked hard with those goals. And I reviewed those goals from month to month and year to year. Guess what? After 4 years, my chair called me and said, we did the annual evaluation and we thought you already have more than people that we are promoting to associate. So next year, put in your package and go on. And I was promoted to associate, just in 5 years rather than in 6. Same thing, associate to full. I had my goals. So goal setting is very important in life. Set goals. So the days you see me moving from one office to the other and chatting around, those are the days that if you look at my Outlook calendar, I probably do not have goals for that day. Because if I do have goals, I'll be miserable at the end of the day when I review my goals for the day. And the way I set my goals, it's all on my calendar, my schedule. Benny knows he will tell you that my schedule is always full. My Outlook, because I put in everything. If you want to have a meeting with me, 30 minutes, it's on my Outlook. I don't do anything outside of so when I wake up in the morning and have some time, I go look at my Outlook to see what do I have for the day. In actual fact, I do that sometimes even the day before. Look at all the things that I have, and then in case I need to have some 1-2 hours of preparation for some meetings, I do that ahead of time. So that is goal setting is very important. And what I'm talking about here transcends just you being successful at your internship. These are lifelong skills that can help you to be successful in life. Learn through mastery and vicarious experiences. Mastery learned by doing, that is mastery experiences according to Albert Bandura, and vicarious experiences. Vicarious in the sense that you watch others, watch the mistakes of others. Some mistakes might be so costly. Don't pay for it by yourself. Learn from others who have made those mistakes and probably paid heavily for the mistakes. Learn vicariously. It's a powerful way to learn, especially for issues in life that might be so costly. Don't drag yourself down. You don't have to. There's someone out there who has gone through the experiences. Learn from them. Be professional. I was in Africa last week. I was meeting the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, with a former like a minister of education, and I attended that meeting. Came out, so I thought I knew how I should dress for that meeting, local dress, so I was fine. Then the next day, I was to give a presentation at a university. We had, close to 100 people there. Then my host said, where is your suit? I didn't bring my suit. I'm coming from America. If you wear a pants and a shirt, I'm fine here. But in Nigeria, the guy said, no, we've told the president of the university, you're going to be meeting with the president, you're meeting with no, you've got to have your suit and your tie. And they had to go start looking for, again, I felt bad. I felt like, no, it's been a long time I left Nigeria, so I lost track of how things are done there. My thinking is now more American, so to say. But again, I learned a hard lesson. Be professional. Know the dress code of your company. In academia, I can wear my flip-flop and my shorts and a t-shirt and go to class and teach. Nobody cares, okay? But there might be organizations whereby you might have to be in suit. Know what they require. There might be organizations that might not require suit, but they might require you to put on a tie or to dress in an executive manner for ladies. Just know that it's very important, the dress code. And I don't think it's harmful to ask, please may I know your very first day, please may I know the dress code. Or you can actually dress up the first day and let them tell you, oh, this is too much dressing. Don't worry, just come with your flip-flop. That will be fine, okay? But make sure you're professional. Be professional in timing. If they say we resume at 8 o'clock, they resume at 8 o'clock, okay? That might be different from being a student. Because some of you might be a student who can walk into the classroom, even though the lecture started at 8 o'clock, you might walk in at 8:20 or 8:10. Nobody cares, you know. You can get away with it. But you are going on an internship, you might not be able to get away with it. The 8 o'clock might mean the 8 o'clock. Not might, means 8 o'clock. So getting there 7:55 might be important. Know their email etiquettes. Some people, some organizations, if they have a doctor there or director this, they want to be called the official title, okay? Dear managing director this, dear director this, or dear doctor this, or, you know, if you are in academia, no, there are too many doctors, so we don't care. So we don't, nobody cares. I don't care if people say doctor or no doctor. Now, call me by my first name, I'm fine. There's probably 1,000 doctors on this campus, so why should I care not being called? But some people, they might be the only doctor in their company. They really want people to know that they have, okay? So they might care. Know the email etiquette, understand hierarchy, and don't understand hierarchy. It's very important. When you go on internship, maybe they tell you this is the person you are reporting to, and this person reports to this person. This is the line of hierarchy. Don't jump hierarchy. Some might not like that. Don't leave your direct boss because you have a question and go 4 or 5 steps over the direct boss and go ask that question. If the direct boss gets to know, it might create some tension there. So understand hierarchy and so on and so forth. So that's part of professionalism. Be a hard worker. Take it more like an interview experience. All your time there, take it more like you are being interviewed. Again, you might just be given that offer. Your last day of the internship, they might just approach you and say, if you're willing to work here when you finish, we have a job for you. Wouldn't that be a good thing to hear? I would love to hear that. So it's an interview experience. Be professional, be cautious, be hardworking, be organized, manage your time wisely. It's very important. When you are giving an assignment and you finish it, don't stay on the computer playing games. You are going into, especially with the GI, you are going into a very sacred space. This is cybersecurity. Someone might be tracking what you are doing. So don't think this is like WSU or Central Washington University or University of Idaho. I can get into the computer lab and then play any game that I like, block games, all sorts of games. It might be problematic for you. Every operations online might be monitored. It's very important. Keep track of your projects. Ask them if they want you to have, if you can have like a profile of the projects that you undertake while they, due to the nature of cybersecurity work, they might not want you to put too many information out on your personal website or even on your CV that, oh, I worked on, I developed a code to help Ukraine tackle some Russian soldiers. That might be too much of a compromise of national security issues. So understand those issues, discuss with them, maybe rather than say that you can just, maybe they will just work with you and say, oh, proficient in developing cybersecurity codes. Okay, so nobody knows the details of what you've done. So being able to work with us again, even on this project, we were told that there are certain things we cannot even publish. There are certain things we cannot let out because of the nature of the project. Find time to make, I call them lasting friends and contacts, people that you can still call or email after your internship. Find time to make those friends and contacts. Go to coffee with someone. Go have lunch with someone. Tell someone I need a mentor. Okay, maybe you've watched them. Tell someone, could you mentor me? Could you be my mentor? I think I can get a lot from you. Everyone feels, it's going to be hard to see someone turn you down. If you come down humbly that, oh, I need help. I need to be mentored. Please, could you mentor me? Then at the end, reflect on your experience. Very important to reflect on the experience. At the end of the internship, think about what has worked well. What didn't work well? Why did it not work well? In fact, don't even wait till the end. 10 weeks, I will check in after like the second or third week. I will check in with my boss and say, how is it going? Am I meeting your expectations? What are other things that you think I can do? And check in periodically, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, just to make sure that your boss is impressed with the type of work that you can do. Thank you so very much. That's all that I have. Again, these are lifelong information, things that can see you through many ups and downs in life. And I hope you have been able to pick one or two things from this session. That's it, Benny. Any question about internship experience?
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Any other questions?
So, and that's the survey link for those, you probably want to talk about that too.
Yeah, so we have a survey that Shola's put together for us, talking about the reflection on each session that we've had. And it's just on a Likert scale, which is, from not very good to very good type of thing. Then there's some space for you to make comments about what things you learned came away from this with. And you don't have to, it says three things you learned. So, kind of prioritize. You have more than three, but really think about the most salient things that you came away with. And then how could we improve those kinds of things for next time. So much appreciate it.
Yeah. So if they can do this now, it should take 10 to 15 minutes. I think that would be helpful. Yeah, so that's
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.